everyone, it's Renee with Delaney Jane Cards. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am up on the ScraPerfect blog with a project I did with their products. I used this ScraPerfect transfer foil to highlight my colored image. I did pull out a favorite stamp set, the Simon Says Stamp floral one there. It gets a lot of use in my craft room. It's called Beautiful Flowers. And then I used that beautiful foil and ScraPerfect's Best Glue Ever with their writing tip on the top. What I wanted to show was that you could really highlight coloring in a very unique way with some foils. You don't have to foil your whole image, and you can foil easily and really do a beautiful job of highlighting your image. So what I did here was stamped my floral image with my Ink on 3 blackout ink. You could see that that stamp is very well loved, and it was what I thought was stained. I also used the Perfect Cleaning Cloth to rub over the top. I had short sleeves on that day. Usually I pull my sleeve down and like rub over the top of the lid of the platform, but I didn't, and then I just cleaned up the ink. Here is where I realized that my stamp was not just stained, it was dirty. I put that cleaning, the best cleaner ever, or yeah, it's called the best cleaner ever. I sprayed that on there, and I was really shocked because I know I've stamped that in Stays On, and it took all of it off. I was really shocked. So I received some Chameleon markers from a friend, and I was going to color this image with them. Well, I did color this image with them. I've never used them before. I watched several YouTube videos on how to use them. So I am absolutely interested in what I did wrong, but I'm going to show you how I use them so you can give me some tips and tricks on ways to change this. So I charged, you charge it with the ink blender solution, which is in the cap, and then it will fade your marker lightest to darkest. And I thought, this leaf turned out pretty good, so I thought I would try them again. And I did. And I didn't leave all of this coloring in because I was just kind of practicing. So I had to recharge it after every single half leaf or leaf in order to get that fade. So this is the red color. I used the RD4, and I did the same thing. Now I want to point out how tedious this becomes. Every single petal, I need to recharge this marker. So then after I got them all colored, I flipped the marker over because there is a like bullet nib on the end, and I thought I would put some flicks in to add some texture to my flowers. So I did the red, and then I pulled out this pink, and I wanted to kind of blend them together. And this is really where I knew that I either needed to really practice with these markers, or these markers are not what I thought they would be. I could not blend the pink and the red together. It did not move the red color at all. I couldn't blend them. And there's my image. It's not bad, but it's definitely not good. So I figured I would pull out my Copic markers and I would see if I could fix this, because I was not happy with the coloring. I wasn't happy with the realism. I wasn't happy with the depth I was getting in the flowers. And I really love this stamp. You've seen how well loved it is and used. I knew that I could do a much better job coloring these. So I pulled out some markers from my Copic collection to just take care of that. Now this R46 is new to my collection. If you watch Courtney Krieber on YouTube, she is a Copic colorist. She is an amazing Copic colorist. But if you watch her, you know that R46 is one of her go-to colors in her red combination. So when I had a little bit of Copic funds to purchase a few new ones for my collection, I made sure I picked up that one because she uses it so often, and I do really like the tone of that red, and I can see this combination here being one of my favorite go-to red combinations. So I just went in, and with my darkest color. Now these flowers are basically already colored, so I felt like that was really saturating my paper. I really hoped that it was going to work. Sometimes my reds blend really nice, sometimes they don't. Depends on the red combination that I'm using. I mean, sometimes they bleed all over the place. So this time I didn't really have that problem, and I really do like how these flowers turned out in the end. I definitely used the first coloring of them as a learning experience, and I'm not saying those markers, those chameleon markers, are bad at all. What I'm saying is I need to learn about them because I have been practicing with my Copics for a long time, like 6 years, and I still learn something new almost every day. Like I said, that R46 was brand new in my collection, and I had not blended with that one before, and so even just adding a new color to my Copic collection makes a big difference in my color combinations, and then I'm learning more, but techniques as well. Every time I watch a new colorist online, I kind of pick something else up or pick something out of their technique that I'm like, huh, maybe I should try that. So I continued coloring these flowers. I can't believe I left all of this in, but if you have this stamp set, which I know a lot of people do, maybe this will help you with your coloring. Or if you're intimidated by all those like amazing colorists on YouTube, maybe my video can help you because I'm just a regular person. I have not been making any money on YouTube, and I've not been coloring for 20 years, and I would not claim to be an artist. What I claim to be is a card maker, so that means that I do not have to specialize in anything. I can dabble in everything, and I can just keep practicing until, my heart is satisfied. So I finished up these flowers here, and I really, like I said, I love this color combination. I would encourage you to pull that R46 out and use it. And I used it with the R89 and the R43, I believe, and it was stunning. It's definitely a new favorite. So there we go. I finished up the flowers. And then I was like, those flowers have plenty of depth. So now I need to take care of the foliage and all that other stuff that I did color with the chameleon markers. So I do like the color combinations that I had pulled out. This more slate blue color here that I'm using for this foliage. It kind of reminds me of, what is it? Is it the eucalyptus that's kind of like that when florists put the flower bouquets together? You tell me in the comments below what that foliage is that they put in the rose bouquets that's kind of this color. But I thought that it was definitely a good complement to this red tone for these florals, and I really liked it. So I just, pulled out very similar colors, and I beefed up my coloring. And then I pulled out a green combination because, the other ones are green, and they don't have enough contrast or dimension or realism to them either. And this is a pretty realistically drawn stamp, so I didn't want to color them like cartoony. So I really tried to very much color them appropriate for the type of drawing that they are. And I think that's one thing that makes this stamp so loved is, first of all, it's big, and it's bigger than an A2 card, so you can kind of pick and choose what part is going on your card, or if you're making a bigger card, you can use the whole thing. But it has large spaces and small spaces, so it's a good place to practice coloring with Copics or color pencils or anything actually. And it's very realistically drawn, so you're not looking at a cartoon flower trying to figure out how to draw this. You can Google search a floral image and see how to color it, and an image that's drawn pretty accurately makes that easy because you can kind of compare parts and pieces and get what you're looking for. So there I added all the green in, and then I needed to do the centers on my flowers, And I wanted them to be brown, but I wanted them to be kind of orangey brown. I just figured that that looked pretty realistic, actually. And I do really love how they turned out. I think these are stunning flowers. I mean, I think they didn't look bad before. I just really like them colored this way, I guess. Then I added a little bit of white gel pen detail. Now, these are the two foils that I pulled out. And what I did was just tested my glue here to make sure I could get a really fine line, and this tip makes that super easy. So I just drew in a little bit of this glue on the edge of each of these leaves where it's the lightest. And this glue is pretty cool because it goes on white and then you let it dry and it becomes clear and tacky. So then I laid my foil and rubbed it with that perfect cleaning cloth over top because it's slippery and you can get really good pressure without like tugging at the foil. So once I had the green done, I went around and I did this to the flowers. I put a little bit of this best glue ever on the edges of all of the petals of the flowers, everywhere that it would be the lightest. And there was a lot of petals, but this was so worth it. It is so beautiful in the end. So I let it dry and I made sure that it was 100% dry before I applied foil. You can see that green foil shining in there. Okay, so the bottom of the foil is that white silvery thing. Think of that as the adhesive of any foil. That's the part that goes down and it kind of sticks to whatever you want to use. Even if you're using adhesive, you need to stick the adhesive side down to your paper. Now here, you're not really getting the full effect, and I did just rub my finger over, make sure everything was pressed down really good. But I did get my phone out and my flashlight, and I did take a little tiny video clip of what this actually looks like, which is gorgeous. Look at the shine on there. That foil is so beautiful, and it does so much for that floral image. So to finish off my card, I needed to add a sentiment. And I wanted to do the "You Are Loved" from the same stamp set. So I used this perfect crafting pouch. It's actually called the Strap and Tap. And I've been using it for a couple of weeks now, and I really do like it. I don't like the feel of the embossing powder on my fingers. I feel like it dries them out, and it gives me kind of the heebie-jeebies. So I really like that this has a handle. And then it puts out a ton of that powder, and then you just use that cleaning cloth and it picks it up. It's like the most magic combination ever. And I've not had any trouble with my embossing since I started using it. No strays, no anything. But now you see there, I embossed that in clear, not what you were expecting. Usually it's white, right? So then I filled in these layers because they're like outlines and there's a space between them. So I filled it in using the best glue ever and that writing tip, and that allows you to get a really fine line. And then I just used my little pokey tool that I have on my desk to make sure that I had it filled in, kind of like icing a cookie where you take the little poker and you make sure it's all the way to the edges. That's what I did. And it still doesn't make any sense, does it? I filled the clear embossing in with the glue that's going to dry clear. But here we go. Remember that foliage that's like that blue-gray color? There is a foil in here that matches. So what I did is laid that foil over top. And here, I left this in to show you. I didn't exactly let the L dry all the way, and I tried. So when I pulled it up, it did not transfer nicely. So I just waited for it to dry until it was all the way clear and then put that foil over top, and it transferred and finished it off beautifully. So if you do rush it like I do, just wait a few more minutes and the foil will go down just fine. So then I trimmed off my little sentiment panel here and added some foam tape to make sure that I had a little bit of dimension on here. And I did trim off just the tiniest little bit of this panel so that I would have a black border on the one side. Kind of something a little different for me. Usually my borders go all the way around, but the way that this floral is laid out on this panel, I thought that would be really beautiful. And then I just added my sentiment here. I didn't add any other embellishments to this card. That foil does it justice. I think it's so stunning. Here are a few still shots of my card. You can see where the depth and dimension did come in my coloring, but you can also see how well that foil matches. So it isn't like jarring when you look at it. And I think it looks beautiful. So as I say here, thank you for stopping by and give cards generously. Also, please like, subscribe, and comment. And check out the ScraPerfect blog. I'll have it linked below. And I will have all of the products I used linked below too. So check them out. And again, thanks for stopping by.